How to overcome inferiority complex. The more prepared you are, the more confident you will become. Simple. Confidence in anything comes from ultimately how well you know your stuff. If you're good at what you do, you will gain confidence eventually. You may go through a period of, feeling low or feeling low on self-esteem or low on confidence, but eventually confidence will come to you. Overconfidence goes to those who don't know. Confidence is earned by those who do know and practice it. Does doing meditation before and after studying help in focusing better? Yes, you could do only 3 to 5 minute sessions. You could just sit peacefully for 3 minutes, and in the afternoon today we'll talk about meditation for sure. And you can just listen to your breathing for 3 minutes and then sit down and study. It'll help you be calmer. The other way in focusing better or learning and retaining better is if you study anything before going to sleep, before even a 15-minute nap, it gets committed to your long-term memory. Any difficult topic that you want to get your head around or recall or retain in your mind, in your brain, work on it before you go to sleep and then go to sleep afterwards. Does watching TV, playing video games after studying affect how much you concentrate in studies tomorrow or after the break? You are entitled to have some fun. It could be video games. The trouble is, video games are very addictive in nature. If you are very disciplined that, okay, I'm only going to play for half an hour or an hour, well, very good. Video games can be very good to build your focus. But the moment you become addicted to it, that, I'm just going to keep playing and until the thumbs turn blue or whatever, then it defeats the purpose. So I would say avoid video games or have that discipline only on a Sunday. I would play for a couple of hours, because it doesn't matter how good you are, there'll always be a new kind of game you would want to play and cross some levels and reach some levels and get some scores. None of that has any meaning. Especially with today's boys, it's a huge challenge. I see so many kids failing in their exams, doing nothing with their lives, just all day sitting playing video games, and they don't want to do that. They don't want to be playing video games all day, but they're addicted to it. When I was growing up, there was a time I also used to play video games, but our video games, there was a time when you would grow out of them. When you're 13, 14 or 12, 14, 15, there were no more video games for you. Like strategy game, arcade games and so on. But today, video games are a lot more complex. The 3D and a lot of violence in them, and what would you, if you're gonna play till 2 a.m., 1 a.m. those video games and then go to sleep, what kind of sleep would you get naturally? Just think about it. So feel free to play, but hopefully you can turn on that Pomodoro app and say, I'm only gonna play for 25 minutes. I know you have those missions which can go on for hours and hours and hours, those network games, and you stole somebody's car, you yelled at somebody else. This is all what's going on in video games. You're beating people, seeing blood splatter all over the place and hammering them and shooting them. Just think about it for a moment. Where in real life would you ever use this skill? Hopefully nowhere. Where would you ever use it? It's just sheer waste of time. When you watch TV, at least you maybe sometimes laugh, maybe you learn a new way of speaking, you hear some words, at least it's a bit better than playing video games. But I know the high you get, when you play, when you cross a mission or pass a mission or cross a level. That's why they're all the rage, in the last even 30, 40 years, video game companies are huge, multi-billion-dollar organizations, because there are enough people who are ready to just waste their time rather than doing something meaningful. And time you lose once is never ever going to come back. I'm sure this sentence you must have heard from your parents a million times. How do I get rid of my insecurities? I think I know the meaning of life. It's insecurity. It's at least a synonym. Life is full of insecurities. Life will always be full of insecurities. There is no way of getting rid of your insecurities. Everybody is insecure in one way or the other. Insecurities are a part of human existence. Now that's a given. The question should be, how do I live with my insecurities? The more you're aware of your strengths, the less insecure you would be. Every time I started a business, I knew that the business could fail. And it did fail a couple of times. But I was not as insecure as many other entrepreneurs because I was technically skilled. And I knew I could always go back and get a job. So I would always find a contract and start paying my bills again after losing everything. So the more prepared you are, the less insecure you will be. If your insecurity is, what if tomorrow I don't have any money? Let's say. If you only have 50 rupees in your pocket, your insecurity is quite real. You would run out of it very quickly. But if you have saved up for the rainy days beforehand, then you can just remind yourself, no problem. If that happens, I can just, tap into my buffer. How do we increase our memory power? You can increase your memory by meditating. That has a definitive effect on memory. And you can also increase your memory by sometimes maybe just put a static object in front of you, even your phone, or maybe not a phone, some image or a tiny candle, and just watch it for 5 minutes. It's called tratak. Don't blink during those 5 minutes. Your eyes will hurt in the beginning, but if you do it, you will get used to it. That really increases your concentration and memory. And if your mama says eat almonds and eat walnuts, I think science says it has some impact on your memory as well. And revise a lot. If you think you can read something once and remember it, you're putting too much stress on your brain. It doesn't work like that. Revise, review, and you will recall better. How to come out of negative thoughts and negative feelings? I will tell you the truth. You cannot come out of negative thoughts and negative feelings by dreaming. If you think I'm feeling negative, let me just sit here and imagine something more beautiful in my life. You won't be able to come out of that. If you want to come out of negative thoughts and negative feelings, you have to have a productive day. If your time is well used, you'll be a lot less negative. If your time is well used, if your time is productive, you'll feel naturally happier from within. That's the best way. I have crippling anxiety most of the time. I get very anxious over very minor things. How can I not let every small thing affect me and make me anxious? If you are going to listen to me carefully now, I will tell you 2 things. One thing you have to adopt, and 2 things you have to do. If you do these 2 things, it would greatly help you with your anxiety. The difficult thing first, things you have to adopt. The more prepared you are in life, the less anxious you will be. It's the irrefutable law of nature. But now 2 things you can do. First is develop a method of affirmation. So you should be able to tap on your shoulder and say, look, all is well, or something like that. But do it when you're actually happy. First develop this method inside you, for you. So when you're happy, you tap on your shoulder and say, look, I'm very happy right now. Life is great. Everything is in order and I'm working towards my goal. So tap on your shoulder and say, everything is great. Do it for a few days or a few weeks in a row. Thereafter, when you're feeling anxious, use the same affirmation. Tap on your shoulder and say, look, all is well. The moment you will tap, your mind will trigger the response it felt, the feeling it felt when everything was actually good. It would think, oh, whenever I'm tapped like this, it means everything is good. For example, in schools, as soon as they ring the bell, you know it's time to go and have fun, right? You know the period is over. You know what I mean? Do the same with your mind. So when you tap on your shoulder, you tell yourself, look, it's all good. Second method is, it requires commitment, and that is, do deep breathing for 5 minutes every single day. You could do that while in a car, in a bus, on a train, at home, in your school when teacher's trying to tell you something and you're not paying attention anyway. So you could breathe deeply at that time. 5 minutes. Do 5 minutes of deep breathing, and then when you're anxious, simply go back to your breathing. It would definitely help you breathe better.